Hola todos. Hoy es lunes el 5 de mayo. Mi español necesita práctica, pero todavía están mirando Coach's Corner. I could have just completely butchered that, but hello, it's Cinco de Mayo. You are watching Coach's Corner. We've got a jam-packed show. We've got Cowboy Scottie Scheffler defending his home turf in McKinney, where if you've paid attention to the internet before, everyone in McKinney is dead. And I will bring up that clip here in a little later because it is really funny. But there's a lot of stuff going on, even though it's kind of the dead season of sports, but not really. We will get to that and much more right after this.
Coach's Corner with Coach Heck and the infamous Coach Patrick King. You're stuck with me, man.
I'm stuck.
You are stuck with me. I ain't going anywhere.
There's a lot of people that are jealous of me for sitting here, and there's some people that there's a little sympathy going on at the same time.
There's more people that are sympathetic to you. I'm just saying that much right now. Just remember what Ron Hecklinski said today. And you ain't that good. The scouting report said you were pretty good. You ain't that good.
Coach's Corner with Heck and King is proudly presented to you by Tony Letcher with Health Markets Insurance, On Funeral Homes of Mishawaka, Frick's Driving School of Mishawaka, and the Harbor Group Planned Wealth down in Anderson. Before we get started, make sure and like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and comment in the chat. Now, here's Heck and King.
Yes, we are here at a beautiful Monday evening, early evening at the Great Linebacker Lounge, just south of the campus of Notre Dame University. Pat King to my right, and yours truly, Ron Hecklinski, on Coach's Corner. I want to say, and I was thinking about this, I think this is our third year, right? Yeah. We're finishing up our third year on Coach's Corner. Our numbers have gone up every year. The number of people that listen to us have increased every year. And so, when we started doing this, we said, if we can make an impact, if we can help somebody to feel good for an hour and a half out of their Monday night, then cool.
And it's stretched 2 hours now for whatever reason.
Yeah, well,
but, we keep talking about numbers, but we are up over, for us, we're over 300 live people now. For us, that's pretty darn good, just being a couple guys doing this in the corner of a bar here in Notre Dame area.
Yeah, no.
Plus all the people that watch it during the week.
Yeah, I think it's really cool.
We've been really fortunate and really happy people have enjoyed what we're doing.
Yeah, and
it's not about the numbers. It's about the friends we've made along the way.
You're 100% right, and we enjoy doing it ourselves. You get to have a Monday night with your son, the great Scott King, who lives in Texas. You get to have a Monday night chewing the fat with him and enjoying that. I get to have a Monday night just talking what we talk about, sports, man.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. And, this past weekend, golf was one of the big deals with Scottie Scheffler shooting 31 under par. And that's because he bogeyed 17. He was 32 under. That's just unbelievable.
So was the tournament held at Studebaker Golf Course in South Bend?
Well, you wonder.
Is that how he got to 31 under?
It was in McKinney at Salesmanship Club there in Dallas runs this, and they've changed locations the last couple of times. When I lived in Dallas, it was at Prestonwood. Then it went out to Las Colinas. We used to go out, park at Texas Stadium, and take the shuttle bus over to Las Colinas to the Byron Nelson. It was just one huge party, and a little bit of golf going on at the same time. Then they went over to a golf course over on the southeast side of Dallas. Now they're up in McKinney, closer to the PGA headquarters at Craig Ranch, and they've been there the last few years. And the pros they love it, but they just tear it up. And the cut was -4, for heaven's sakes, after 2 days. So you can see lots of birdies, and here's Scott Scheffler, who's was 30 under par for the weekend. And then we also had we're going to talk to Scott Steger here in a little bit. One of my high school buddies, his son Eric, was in Port St. Lucie over the weekend at the PGA qualifier, and he placed 9th place in that, and was actually in the final group. He was second going into the final day and leaked a little oil on the back nine, and ended up in 9th place, but they took 20. So he will be at the PGA tournament coming up here in a couple weeks at Quail Hollow over in Charlotte. So we'll get to see them on national television.
So they do, they do more than just play basketball in Anderson, Indiana, right?
Yes.
Good for Scott Steger, man.
So, and Scott we'll talk more about that, but he was on a two-time state champions his sophomore and senior year in high school. They were state champions.
And I believe one of his teammates was the great Steve Douglas. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir.
The great Steve Douglas, an Anderson, a former Anderson resident, coached junior high basketball for many, many, many years. Great basketball coach. You could find Steve Douglas more times often than not at Edgewood Country Club, playing some golf, sipping on some libations afterwards, and just a great guy. So it'll be really cool to talk to Scott Steger. At 7:00, we're going to speak with Drew Lutz. Just a local, great high school basketball player at Penn. Went out to Incarnate Word in San Antonio, played for Coach Cunningham, Ander and Andran 59er, and played at Purdue. Transferred back, played at Bethel. Mm-hmm. Now just took the head coaching job at New Prairie, and we're going to find out why. Why Drew Lutz,
why a 24-year-old would want to be a head coach,
and why you would want to take that job at New Prairie. And I'm going to figure that he's going to have some good stuff to say. And he was an assistant coach at New University, which is real close to IMG in Sarasota and Bradenton area. And we're going to find out why he took that. And then at 7:45ish, we're going to talk to Tyler Leighton, who is he's a Jimtown kid.
Right.
And he was an assistant coach at Penn, took the head coaching job at Jimtown, then just applied. And his buddy, Derek Deshone, who he played high school basketball with, resigned at Concord because of a lot of crazy parents at Concord.
Well, he moved up to administration.
Well, yeah, but the crazy parents.
He moved up to administration.
Crazy ass parents. And again, we're going to ask Tyler Leighton why. Why? And we're going to have some great dialogue with a couple of really, really good young coaches.
Some of the young coaches.
And it's a different world today, man.
Us old guys can sit back here and kind of have a little fun with them because we can.
Well, yeah, and you know what? Back in my day, my first head coaching job, I was an assistant coach at Richmond in the North Central Conference. Obviously, if I could have seen the future, I would have been able to say I got my feet wet in the North Central Conference. I stepped away for a minute and then came back and finished in the North Central Conference. But we never know the future. And I took the head coaching job at Wapahani. And all my friends said, why? Why? Because Wapahani was one and forever. And they had the last time Wapahani won the Dead Sea was only sick.
And one of the things here, without going on with that, back then there was only one class. So people our age during that time period, we weren't going to be able to jump from college straight to being a head coach at, quote, a big school.
Sure.
You had to earn that. You either became an assistant through, went through small school, big school, then maybe a head coach at a small school, or what you said, you went to Wapahani as a head coach at age 25, maybe 26?
Yeah, maybe age 21, maybe age 24.
Okay,
maybe age 24, but here's the deal, and I believe this to be true 100%. Because John Harrell was not in existence. So you could not pull up a website,
right?
And you couldn't see that Wapahani was one and forever.
Remember, you used to send in 6 envelopes to Gene Milner.
Yeah.
And he would, about every 1 week or 2 weeks, he would send you a list of new openings.
Yeah. But you didn't know. I didn't know. And furthermore, I didn't care that they had won a game because I was so and I wouldn't say cocky. I might not say arrogant. I would say I was so self-assured that I knew how to coach.
You could make it work.
And that I could make chicken salad out of chicken doo-doo, as my dad once told me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I understand. Now you got to remember, I was an assistant coach for, 10 years, 12 years before I even before I went to North Miami. I had to move to Texas and try and move back to be a head coach.
Yeah. So is North Miami anything like Miami?
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
North Miami is the northern part of Miami County.
Oh.
It's the area between Peru and Rochester.
I'm thinking North Miami is.
Well, it's amazing how many times I had people ask me that.
Yeah, if you're going
Florida?
down to the beach, man, and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Oh, okay. Well, now, so I have a different impression to you because I thought you coached in Miami.
No, I was with
You're just a slap like me.
I was with the Country Boys.
Yeah, you're just a slap like me out in Wapahani.
I tell you, one thing I did learn was in November, Saturday practices, you do not have them till like noon or 2 o'clock because that's deer hunting season.
Yeah, they're in the fields, man, and they're out hunting, and they have chores to do. And so when I took the job at Jasper in southern Indiana, German Catholic town. Germans drink beer like it's water.
Oh yeah.
So I come out, I have a parent meeting, blah, blah, blah. We're going to do this. No cussing, no facial hair, obviously no long hair, blah, blah, blah. And no alcohol. And I got a dad, coach. When you say no alcohol, does that mean no beer? I said, are you kidding me, sir? Of course. There's no drinking. Coach, we drink beer for supper. We're a German Catholic family. We drink beer for supper.
Kind of like Italians with their wine.
Yeah, and try walking your way out of that one, on the fly. On the fly.
Was their last name Ratzinger?
It had an Inger after it, yes. It had an Inger after it, but
Please tell me you know who that is, right?
I do not.
Oh, it's Pope Benedict's 16th real name.
Oh,
Joseph Ratzinger.
yeah. I'm so sorry.
Scott's he's still new at all of it.
SMH.
So he's a
No,
student.
it's the late Pope. It's
He's
the late Pope.
a student of it. Yes.
Yeah. So, I can't wait to have discussions with these young kids. But first of all, I want to get into something here quickly. Greg Popovich, man. Greg Popovich, head coach for 29 years with the San Antonio Spurs. And when you look at a longevity of any kind of professional coach, I would be willing to bet that those numbers would never, ever, ever be reached again. Now you can look at some of the old legendary guys like George Halas. George Halas was the coach of the Chicago Bears for 40 freaking years. And why? Because he was the owner of the team.
He owned the team too.
And is he going to fire himself?
Yep. Same thing with Paul Brown with the Cleveland Browns.
Yes, and Vince Lombardi and all those guys.
Tom Landry with the Cowboys.
Yes. But Greg Popovich, 29 years with the San Antonio Spurs. I think 5 games into this past season, suffered a stroke. And never made it back, rehabbed, and the players would see him in the weight training room, just trying to bust it and trying to get himself back to playing or back to coaching again. And he finally just came out a day or two ago saying that the grind and everything is too much now, and he's going to retire. But when you look at that number of years, 5 championships, 5 NBA championships, just an incredible career for Greg Popovich. Thank you very much. And by the way, the people at the Linebacker Lounge, are you kidding me?
That's right.
They're absolutely amazing. If you're out driving around, man, stop in, get yourself a cold brew, grab some popcorn. There we go. There's a little clapping for the people. Get yourself some nice hot popcorn, and the popcorn's free.
That's right.
When I go to the movies from now on, okay,
You're stopping
I'm
here.
stopping here. I'm stopping here and getting some popcorn here.
Stuff your pockets.
Taking it to the movies, man, because the popcorn is great. So stop in, get yourself a brewski, have some popcorn, and enjoy the great ambiance of the Linebacker Lounge, man. But back to Pop, man.
All right. Hey, trivia question. Where's he from?
He's from Maryville.
He's a region boy.
He's a region guy, and I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, he got inducted into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. It was during his season, so they had to do a Zoom, and he was so humble and so thankful for the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame for putting him in. It was amazing, and to hear him speak. I mean, a guy that's won 5 NBA championships, and the humility he had for the people that elected him in, it was incredible.
The other 2 names I can think of right offhand would be John McLeod and blonde-haired guy from Bainbridge that was Houston Rockets coach. I just drew a blank.
How about Del Harris?
Del Harris.
See,
magicmind.com. Use the code Coach's Corner 20.
Are you okay? Okay, let's stop this interview process, right? And let's go to this level.
Okay.
Are you using energy or anything for mind-altering experiences?
No, I'm on probation right now.
Any mushrooms?
Nothing.
Any LSD?
Nothing.
Nothing. You need a little something.
The name was at the tip of my tongue, but see, it was on the numb side of my tongue. Because I had stitches in my tongue a long time ago when I was in a car accident.
Enough about the tongue.
That the memory part of my tongue, it was at the tip of my wrong side of my tongue.
But 5 NBA champs, 29 years. One of his assistants was a female named Becky Hammond, and I believe she was with Pops. I don't know, maybe 10 years. And I think maybe after the 6th or 7th year, Pops let her coach in the summer league. Mm-hmm. She did great. Pops was suspended for a game, so he let her coach the game. Just to say that a female did coach in the NBA, and she was amazing. She's now a coach, the head coach of the Las Vegas Aces. And in 3 years of being a head coach, her record is 87-29. And lo and behold, she brought her Las Vegas Aces to Notre Dame.
They were here Thursday night.
Yeah, and played an exhibition game, a WNBA exhibition game at Notre Dame.
There were Notre Dame girls on both sides.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool when they do that, and they let the hometown crowd come in, and they get an exhibition game in, and they let the hometown crowd, take a look at the famous Notre Dame players. Now, do you have any idea what Notre Dame players were in that game by chance?
There were 3 of them. There were 2 on one side, 1 on the other.
You have one job to do. You have one job. You don't know their names, but you know Skylar Dickens, right? Yeah.
I know Skylar because I've known her since she was a little kid.
Well, I apologize, people, that we don't know the names, but that's really cool.
I do know that Dennis Musgrave ran the shot clock that night because I saw him yesterday at the store.
So I think that's just really cool when they go to hometowns. Now, the Indiana Fever played an exhibition game at Iowa, at the University of Iowa over the weekend also. And Indiana Fever, Iowa, Caitlin Clark.
I believe that was a history game because that was the first exhibition game ever televised for the WNBA. Just shows you how that one of the other steps they've made in notoriety, that they think that they can have a national audience for an exhibition game.
Yeah,
and who played and where was it? Iowa, right?
Iowa and Caitlin Clark, man.
Exactly.
Now, Caitlin Clark didn't play 2 nights before in Indianapolis in an exhibition game because she had some type of injury. But when she's going back to Iowa, that she's going to get some run in. And, what a player. Her first year in the league. And I'll just flat say it. I think she took some abuse, man. I really, really do. I think the veterans, I think all you heard heading into her first year was Caitlin Clark this, Caitlin Clark that. And I think the veterans in the league kind of wanted to put her in her place a little bit and say, hey, Caitlin, we had a league before you got here. Mm-hmm. But I think that they were, and I think some of that is cool.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I think they took it to an extreme. And I think the one thing that they failed to have an understanding about is that because of Caitlin Clark, because of the notoriety, all of the things that became better for the players in the WNBA, such as they now had their own private airplanes.
Yeah, they charter. Yep.
They chartered airplanes,
and they're talking more serious about money, about salaries.
Sure. And I think And I think players that are coming out now, I mean, I think they would think twice about coming out early because they can make so many more times money staying in college because of NIL and the collectibles. And they get 3 hots and a cot.
Especially at the girls basketball.
Yeah, sure.
I think you're going to see girls 4 years, maybe 5, if they can get that 5th year here, staying in college as long as they can. Because even if they're a first-round pick, they're going to probably make more money in college.
Without question.
The girls will. Now the boys, that's a different story.
Yeah, I saw a comparison today, and it was Cooper Flagg and Paige Beckers, both at Duke, and Paige Beckers' NIL contract at Duke was 80. I want to say $870,000.
She went to UConn.
UConn. I want to say $870,000. That's what her total contract was, and Cooper Flagg made like $187,000 per game at Duke.
Okay.
At Duke,
I think the pro one I saw, she was around $400,000 or $500,000 on her contract for the pros, and he was around $60 million. It was some ungodly difference. Just show the difference between NBA and WNBA.
Yeah, and so as more of these WNBA players come out, and they're the marquee players. I think you're going to see those salaries increase, and certainly not increase exponentially like the NBA salaries are, because the NBA salaries are, quite frankly, like any professional salary, they're off the chart. Well, and I mean, I can't put my mind around it when a guy like Patrick Williams, who for the Chicago Bulls, who in the immortal words of 1946, Mr. Basketball, Jumpin' Johnny Wilson from Anderson, said he can't bust a grape. But yet the Bulls signed him to a 4-year, $90 million extension last year, and he averaged 6 points a game.
Oh, gee. Well, you know what?
Here, hey, the Coach's Corner research department figured out who the former Notre Dame people were, if you would like to know.
One starts with an O with about 20 syllables.
Yes, go ahead. Our great producer, Scott Jones, because we shall not link him to my partner here, Patrick King.
It was Jackie Young.
She was good.
She's a Princeton girl, Miss
Jewel
Basketball.
Lloyd.
Okay.
And Arike Agumbawale.
Yeah, I couldn't say that first time.
She was really good.
She's the one who hit the game winner in the national championship.
Didn't she hit the walk-off national title?
Yes,
they all played for Muffet McGraw, who just ran such a great program back in the day. Thank you, the R&D department of Coach's Corner.
There we go. He comes through again. Hey, let's talk pros for just a second. NBA yesterday, game 1, the Pacers surprised people at Cleveland. So the Pacers, the 4 seed, go into Cleveland, and the Pacers, let's face it, have not played very well on the road here in the playoffs or even during the season. Won by 10 points yesterday. So they're up 1-0, I'm sure they hope they just get a split. Well, now they have the split, and they play again tomorrow night in Cleveland, and then they come back to Indianapolis, in the middle of the week.
Yeah, and so when you talk about that, the Pacers shot extremely well.
They had five starters, double figures.
Yeah, and their 3-point game was amazing. But I got some news for all you Pacer fans. Okay, Cleveland is old school.
There's a reason they're number 1 seed.
Really, really good. They have bigs. They have guys that can score. Garland can play. Max Struzzi is just a phenomenal downtown 3-point shooter. They have bigs, and that series may now go 5. I thought it would go 4, to be honest with you. But it may now go 5.
Well, how about the second game last night? It was game 7, Golden State and Houston at Houston. Houston was the 2 seed, and they got run. Golden State was up 30 in the late in the third, early fourth quarter.
Yeah, and then you look at Steph Curry and you look at Draymond Green, just grizzled veterans, and then you throw Jimmy buckets in there. You throw Jimmy buckets on that team.
They've got 3 quality players.
Yeah, and that's what every NBA team wants. And it started off when LeBron left Cleveland and got his posse of LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh to go together to the Miami Heat. And then everybody said, you got to have threes.
Right.
You got to have threes. And Golden State really didn't have a third. They shipped Klay Thompson off, who had struggled a little bit. They shipped him off to Dallas. And so they were looking for a third. And Jimmy Buckets said he's not going to Miami. Don't trade me to Miami. He's going, I forget where he said he was going, but he's going somewhere else. And then all of a sudden, Pat Riley or the guys at Golden State said, no, you are coming. He went.
We'll take him.
And he went, and he's a really good player. Now he's getting long in the tooth. He is, but we all are, right?
They're 30 plus, yeah.
Yeah.
So tonight, like maybe about right now, the Knicks and Boston are getting ready to start. That's game 1. And also later on tonight, you've got Oklahoma City and Denver. So those are the 2 games tonight. So for the next 10 days, we're going to have 2 ball games on every night.
Yeah, and so OKC.
Pretty good basketball.
And OKC and Denver, and everybody said in Denver, we fire Mike Malone, man. Jokic wants to leave. These players want to leave. And they said yesterday, those same players said yesterday, well, maybe the shakeup, lit a fire under us. Maybe the shakeup helped us, and you doggone right it helped you.
Yeah. I read an article where he got fired because he played Westbrook. He was going to play Westbrook, and they didn't want him. The ownership did not want him to play Westbrook. Well, guess who won the ball game for him yesterday, 2 days ago?
Could it have been Westbrook?
Might have been. So I thought that was just really interesting. That just came right back to haunt him.
Yeah, and it really did. And Minnesota. So this is a great point. Our great producer Scott pointed this out. So Minnesota used to be the Lakers.
Sure,
used to be the Minnesota Lakers, and it's because Minnesota has about 10,000 lakes in the state of Minnesota.
The Minneapolis Lakers.
Yes.
And they used to, believe it or not, here's a history lesson because my dad would tell us this. The Minneapolis Lakers, George Mikan, they used to play in the old Wigwam against the Anderson Packers.
The Mikan drill.
Yeah. But the Lakers, they were in the league in the late 40s, and they would come to the old Wigwam and play the Anderson Packers.
Wow.
Wilt played for the Minneapolis Lakers, didn't he?
When he first started, I believe he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
hey, I didn't know if you were going to get to it or not, but can we do a new segment sponsored by whoever wants to sponsor it?
Sure.
It's called Go Puck Yourself.
Oh, no.
And we'll talk about some playoff hockey because it is electric.
You're down there in that Dallas area. They love their stars, don't they?
Oh yeah. If you go to any event around here during the national anthem, when the line comes to "Who is Broad Stripes" and "Bright," everybody screams "Stars!"
Oh my.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So didn't they get beat by Benny and the Jets last night? Or did the Stars beat Benny?
That was the Blues from St. Louis.
Got beat by Benny and the Jets.
Yes. What, 2 overtimes, Scott?
Fun fact, the Blues goalie is Jordan Binnington. So Benny. I know.
Oh, okay.
I know it's Benny. I know the song is Benny, but
it's close enough.
Benny and the Jets. Yeah. No, you're cool, man. You're right there. So a new segment. Get the puck out of here.
The Stars. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Stars are bright.
The Stars are playing the Jets.
And I will. It's time for me to bring this up because I still am, and it's painful. It's very painful to be a Chicago Blackhawks fan. But back in the year when they won 3 Stanley Cups with Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, they were the talk of the town. And anytime the Hawks were on, we watched them.
It's kind of tough times right now, isn't it?
Well, it's the same, and it's the same thing And it's every general manager's worst nightmare when you have to dismantle a championship team.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point in time, everybody wants to get paid, and you can't pay everybody because there are salary caps. Mm-hmm. And it happened to the Cubs.
Right.
When the Cubs win in 16, and now Bryant wants to get paid, Rizzo wants to get paid, Javi Baez wants to get paid. And so what are you paying for? Are you paying for their prime, which is already passed? Are you paying for their future, which at some point in time they won't be able to bust a grape?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's every GM's nightmare.
It's like you have to give them a bonus of some sort.
Yeah,
Connor
Scott,
Bedard's
why
a good cornerstone to build around, though.
Yeah, no, I think Connor Bedard is a great corner, and they have really, really good young players. They made a great trade and got a fantastic goalie by the last name of Knight, who's a young goalie and will be their goalie of the future. They traded Seth Jones, but Connor Bedard will be good, and they have good young players. But I believe when you talk about the Hawks, that you got to settle on a coach, and you got to say good times, bad times, it doesn't matter. You got to stay with your guy. So I go back to Joe Madden, Pat, and I say Joe Madden. He wins the World Series. He has a couple so years, and they fire him.
Mm-hmm.
But who he beat to get to the World Series was the Los Angeles Dodgers. The manager of the Dodgers was Dave Roberts, and Dave Roberts is still today the manager of the Dodgers.
Consistency.
Yeah, and speaking of consistency, Scott, why don't you take us to break? Because when we come back from break, we got the great Drew Lutz on, and we're going to talk about high school basketball and Drew Lutz's career. So we're going to go to break. Hang in there, Drew, and we'll be back in a minute or two.
Medicare plans can be confusing, but they don't have to be. I'm Tony Ledger, licensed insurance agent. I can help you compare your options because I'm appointed with many nationally recognized carriers. With my help, you can find the coverage that fits your needs and budget. I don't want you to be my client today. I want you to be my client forever. Call Tony Ledger today to schedule your free consultation or visit tledger.com.
Dealing with the loss of a loved one can leave you with lots of unanswered questions and stress. At Hahn Funeral Homes of Mishawaka, we're here to help. Our focus has always been on the families that we serve. At Hahn Funeral Homes, we stand ready to meet your needs and exceed your expectations when selecting a funeral home. Our experienced funeral directors and staff will be there for you every step of the way for all of your funeral service needs. Hahn Funeral Homes is located at 505 West 8th Street in downtown Mishawaka. You can call them anytime at 574-255-1474 or stop in to get all your answers from our local funeral professionals about all your funeral needs. Hahn Funeral Homes, a family serving families. Are you sick and tired of relying on somebody else to get you around? Are you coming to Indiana from a place where you just never needed to learn how to drive? Well, if you're looking to hit the road with confidence, Frick's Driving School in Mishawaka has been helping drivers of all ages gain the skills they need for a lifetime of safe driving. With experienced, patient instructors like Mr. Coach Pat King and flexible scheduling, Frick's makes it easy for you to learn to drive easy and stress-free. Whether you're a first-time driver or need a refresher like Mr. Coach Ron Heklinski, Frick's has you covered. Plus, for just $65, they offer the state driving exam in-house. No need to go anywhere else. Visit fricksdrivered.com or call 574-256-0650 to get started today. If you're nearing retirement, or if you're like me and you're not nearing retirement but you still want to get your money right for retirement, the Harbor Group Planned Wealth has you covered with the ability to answer questions like, what specific steps should I take before retiring? When should I draw Social Security? How do I manage investment risk? How much will health insurance cost if I retire? If I'm over 62, which I still am not, how much money can I earn part-time without affecting my Social Security and or my pension? And is it really possible to get a raise if I retire? If you want all those questions and more answered, call the Harbor Group at 855-5-HARBOR, HARBER, or you can contact VP Jessica Rhodes at 765-393-1074 or visit the website harborgroup, harber.com. Securities and advisory services are offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
100 in Terrell. Right now in Terrell and in Dallas, your heat index is 107. Everyone in McKinney is dead. The temperature, the heat index right now in McKinney is 10,000. What is that? 101,105. It's hot in McKinney. Jesse Hawila.
Nice. We are back. The Black Sedan Band music. I think we lost that to hear about McKinney, Texas, how everyone is. There we go. The Black Sedan Band from Birmingham, Alabama. The absolute best.
I dropped that nugget in the intro, so I had to give the reference.
Yeah,
it's a great nugget. It's a great McNugget. So when we talk about the best, the Black Sedan Band, we got to be talking about Drew Lutz, man. Drew, what's up, man? You good?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Okay. Drew, he's the best one here. He's still undefeated.
Yeah, no, he's fixing to be a head basketball coach in the great state of Indiana. Let's talk a little bit about some of your stops, man. Played for the great Country Al Rhodes at Penn, and we call him Country Roads because of James Taylor, the song Country Roads. For like 27 years, Al did not know why we called him Country Roads. I said Al because James Taylor sings that song. All right, man. You played for the great Al Rhodes. You went down to Incarnate Word in San Antonio and played for Coach Cunningham, the ex-Andrea.
With all the big old women.
And then you transfer back and you play for one of the greatest free throw shooters ever, Steve Draben, at Bethel, and you have great success at Bethel. Talk about your career a little bit, Drew.
Yeah, you mentioned those three guys, and I'm thankful to have such great coaches like them. That they taught me a lot along the way, and Coach Rhodes, man, that's what got me excited about Indiana high school basketball and just the feel of it and everything. And then Coach Cunningham did a great job with helping me learn ball screen coverages and all that different stuff, slowing down the speed of the college game, and then enjoyed my last couple of years at Bethel, and having family around was really special for me.
I just say that your time down at Incarnate Word, you had a chance to play some pretty good basketball teams too. I remember, didn't you guys play, was it Purdue one year? You guys played Purdue?
Yeah, we played at sold out Mackey Arena, and I couldn't feel my body that whole game. It was special. Yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah, but what division was Incarnate Word? Were they Division I?
Division I. But
what conference were you in?
We were in the Southland Conference, so smaller Division I, but a lot of good.
A lot of those Texas schools, right?
Yep.
Who was on that Purdue team?
It was Jaden Ivey, Zach Edey.
Oh yeah.
Sasha.
Just a couple of years. It wasn't too far.
Yeah,
Coach Stefanovic.
Yep.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question. When you played at Purdue, Carson Cunningham is big, his big homecoming, blah blah blah. How many times did you take it into the paint and try and elevate over Zach?
One too many. Yeah. he blocked me a good amount of times. I remember that.
Yeah, he's a and unless you play against somebody like that, once you go in and it's maybe your first time of playing against anybody that big, it's got to be amazing, right?
Yeah, it was different. Even looking down at his shoes, just seeing how big his feet were, I was like, geez.
Yeah. So then you graduate from Bethel, and you have a great career at Bethel. One of the things that whenever I had a chance to call your games with the great Paul Condrey, who absolutely loves Bethel, the one thing that I would always say about you is when you're driving and you would stop on a dime and leave change by the time you elevated to get your J off, and then come back down in the same spot that you left. And I'd never seen a player get into his shots so quickly and so powerfully than you.
Well, I appreciate that. And honestly, I started doing that towards the end of my high school career. Coach Rhodes taught me got to be able to stop on a dime and pull up. And especially playing at the college level, he would always tell me, like, those guys are big, they're strong. So got to find different ways to score. And that was one of them.
So did you guys ever call him country roads?
We did not.
I would have. If you guys would have called him country roads one time, I would have paid a lot of money to be hiding somewhere when he looked at you, man. So you got to remember your junior year, man. My first year at the Mish, I coached everywhere, Ball State and Anderson High School, in Bloomington, and I had a chance to come back to South Bend and coach at Mishawaka. So my first year at Mishawaka, we go into Penn, and you and Applegate, you had a really, really good team. And I was just talking to Sammy Shively today, and I said, Sam, I'm going to have Drew Lutz on the show. I said, did you guard Drew? And he said, no. He said, I guarded Applegate. I said, who guarded Drew? He said, maybe Trayshawn Jeffries. But I don't know if you remember that game when the mighty cavemen went into Penn and beat you guys.
I remember the days after were not fun. I'll tell you that much. Coach Rhodes.
I can imagine that.
Yeah, but then the sectional comes along, and we got the sectional at our place, and it's really a good sectional. Demezy Anderson and that Riley team, they were obviously the class of the sectional, but we had another good game in the opening round of the sectional. I think you guys beat us by 2 or 3 points. You came out, put Applegate on the top of a half court trap late in the game, and he smothered our guards a little bit. You had a couple of steals, and you guys pulled away. But I always really, really enjoyed playing against Penn and playing against Country Roads, because when I was coaching at Anderson, the shoe was on the other foot, because Country Roads was the head coach at Logansport. And when the Indians got a hold of Logansport Berries, it wasn't always pretty. So Al had a chance to get back, and he certainly did, man.
Hey, I've got a question for you, Drew. After practice at Bethel, did you have any shooting contests? Did anybody dare challenge Coach Draven to any shooting contests?
We got asked that question a lot, and Paul Condrey would always try to get us to do a free throw competition, but never did it. But he in camp, it was impressive watching him teach free throws, and I never saw him miss one. So
I just wondered about
that's amazing.
I just thought maybe you guys might, get in a 2-ball contest and with a partner and see if get him out there shooting threes too, because he was pretty good at that one in his day. That's for sure.
Okay, so you leave Bethel and you take an assistant's job at New College, right? Down in Sarasota, Bradenton area, and you're right next to IMG, right?
Correct. Yep.
I mean, talk about that experience a little bit.
Yeah. So thanks to having my 5th year because of COVID, I was able to finish my master's at my time at Bethel, and so there were a lot of GA roles I could have taken, and but honestly, I was ready to be done with schooling for a little bit, so I went as an assistant down here at New College, and Coach Wingreen, he coached my brother. He was an assistant at Bethel.
I was wondering what the connection was. How did you find New College?
Yeah,
that answers that.
Yeah, and he's been awesome, and he let me do a lot of coaching this past year, and kind of just threw me into the fire, and it was really good for me, really good.
Now, what level was that? Was that NAIA down there, or were they JUCO, or what were they?
NAIA, yep.
Okay, I thought that's true. They're in the same conference with Warner and some of the Sun Conference. Is that right?
Yep, the Sun Conference.
Kaiser, maybe. Is that another one? Okay.
It was our first year in the Sun Conference, and
because when I was at Madison, I had a player that went to Kaiser and played.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, and I wonder if Jack Kaiser, who played linebacker for Notre Dame, was from Kaiser.
I doubt it.
Okay, just a question.
Let me drop a name from you from New College. Do you know Eric Skoglund, baseball coach?
Yep, I know him. Hang out a lot during the daytime, during the office time. So awesome.
Now, where are you right now?
I'm currently in Sarasota. So
all right. Well, you tell Eric that his older brother is my son-in-law. How's
Okay.
that one? He married my daughter. He married my daughter Stephanie. So
Awesome.
I know Eric. He was in my daughter's wedding, matter of fact. So time Coach King said hello.
We'll do.
All right, so let me ask you this question. Okay, coming fresh off a plane, and now you're sitting in another seat, in a coach's seat. Do you wish you were still playing, or does coaching really fulfill that part of the fact that you're not playing anymore?
Yeah, I've always wanted to be a coach ever since I was little. My brother and I would play in the backyard, and I would pretend to be a coach and all that stuff. So it's always been a dream of mine. There were times this past year where I missed playing. I'll tell you that. There'll be mistakes on the floor, and I just want to go out there and correct them myself. But unfortunately, couldn't do that. But I missed playing some this past year. But I think this is a really good step for me and a good way to kind of go into that mentorship role. I think, like you talked about, those 3 coaches I had were great for me, and that's kind of what I want to do for the younger generation.
All right, so let me ask you this question now, and so when we got on the show to begin with, we talked about our guest, and I had just a really, really big question for you. You're going to come back to South Bend. You're going to be the head coach at New Prairie, the New Prairie Cougars. Haven't been very successful. So why, or what made you decide to take this New Prairie job? And I'm being kind of kind, because at the beginning I was saying, why? This is the great Drew Lutz. Drew Lutz could get any job. Why does he want to go to New Prairie? So now explain that to me.
Yeah, well, first of all, New Prairie's, they've been awesome to me ever since I heard about this. So I want to give them credit for that. But honestly, I was looking to get closer to home. My dad's going through some health issues, and I think it's important for my wife and I to just be around family there during this time. I'd want to be able to help and be at appointments or drive them. And so it was kind of bigger than just basketball, I would say. It was more just the family aspect. But I'm hoping I can kind of make some noise here at New Prairie and turn that page from not being successful and kind of implement my own strategies, bring in the right people, and teach them the game of basketball the right way. So.
Yeah, and so you answered it straight up, man. I mean, just a great thing to do, to be able to come home and help family. And then, oh, by the way, you can coach hoops also. And everybody that I know that talked about New Prairie always said the same things, that they can't get the kids to buy in to basketball outside of the season. I mean, we all know that the basketball players don't really improve that much from November to March, but they improve a heck of a lot from March to November. So what do you think that you'll be able to get done and get kids in the gym at a school where historically they haven't been able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, no disregard to the past coaches, but I'm just going to try to bring in my own kind of flair and energy and confidence about me, and try to make basketball fun and kind of explain my story. And my freshman year, I was barely 5 foot, and I made the varsity team, and it was because of hard work and staying in the gym and countless hours. So kind of drilling that into them, and then have a really good June of playing a lot of basketball and teaching it the right way and learning how to move without the ball and all that little stuff. And so there's no simple answer, but gonna try to make it fun and have good coaches around them as well.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. And Pat and I were talking because my first job, I was assistant coach at Richmond High School in the Great North Central Conference, and my first job was at a little high school outside of Muncie called Wapahani. And everybody said, "Are you kidding me? Well, why are you going to Wapahani?" Wapahani was 1 and forever the year before. And I said, because I don't know they're 1 and forever. I got confidence in myself. I'm going to go there and I'm going to coach my brains out, and my guys are going to play hard. And if my guys do that, then good things will happen. And it's the same thing with Pat. Pat took the job at North Miami. Mm-hmm. I thought North Miami was down in Florida, in Miami. But he said, no, it's in Indiana, right?
Northern Miami County. It's between Peru and Rochester. Everybody knows where it is. All those signs that say Denver, Chili, 12 Mile, all that stuff.
Right.
Hey, Drew, the one thing I've been over at New Prairie during football season doing radio the last 3 years now. The one thing that I've noticed is the problem that they've had with basketball is they're getting, they've got a lot of two-sport athletes at New Prairie, but they're football, baseball, or football, wrestling. Basketball, for most of them, now they had a group a couple years ago when they won the sectional, but for the most part, basketball is their third sport. And that's tough when it's their third sport because, for like we've been talking, in the month of June, there's not enough hours in the day. You're going to, you get the defending state champs in baseball. So that means, if they go along that way, you're going to lose. They're going to be 2 weeks into, baseball tournament. It goes 2 weeks into June, which is, so you've got to, one thing you're going to have to do is make friends with football and baseball. Yep. And, where's my time? Can we split this day into thirds? And on weekends, when can I take kids over there? And you may find out those tournaments at Bethel on Friday afternoons might become pretty handy because that would be a day that, maybe football's not doing 7-on-7s or baseball doesn't have a doubleheader. So I think that's some stuff you're going to have to work out. And then getting your staff filled out and getting people down there in that middle school and getting those kids excited down there about playing basketball.
Yeah, that's really important. And building that foundation is going to be huge. And it may take a little bit, but like you talked about, Ron, I think I have confidence in myself, and I'm going to spill all the basketball knowledge I know. And kind of a word that's been sticking with me and kind of the identity I want to bring in is this word grit. And we just got to have a grittiness about us, a toughness. It may not be the pretty flashy basketball that I like to play sometimes, but we're going to have to find different ways to win, different styles, and be creative with it.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think you are exactly what New Prairie needs at this point. I don't think they needed a guy to come in who's been a head coach for 20 years. I think they need a guy exactly like you that has passion, that is young, that will be able to identify with kids, that kids will like. You're going to go to the junior high. As a matter of fact, I think you're already starting to sign up kids for camp right now, right?
Yep. Trying to do that. So that'll be fun.
Go ahead and pub your camp, man. We got thousands and thousands and thousands of listeners, man. Somebody may be watching. Right. Pub your camp a little bit.
Yep. So June 2nd through 5th, we got Cougar basketball camp. Already got a couple speakers lined up, one being Coach Draven, the other being Country Roads. So
please, whenever you call them Country Roads, call me so I can be there. I want to see that.
I got you. Yeah, so it should be a lot of fun. And Coach Rhodes always did an amazing job with camp. And so I think that was really important for me growing up and just learning the right way to play basketball and all the little details. Although sometimes they're boring, you got to rep them because they're really important.
Do you have a coaching staff put together yet?
Working on it. It hasn't officially happened, so I don't want to say anything too soon, but I got some guys that I'm excited about.
Oh, that's really cool. Hey, listen, we certainly appreciate you taking a minute or two out of your schedule down in the great state of Florida. When are you going to be up here now to start your stuff?
Yeah, so my wife and I, we're going to pack up this week, and then we're driving up Friday.
All right, man. Listen, you have a safe trip, and if there's anything that Pat and I can ever do for your program or anything, we would certainly like to do that for you. I love, and I know Pat feels the same way. I love seeing young guys that are charismatic like you and are good players. I love seeing young guys get into the business and pay forward what coaches did for them.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And thanks for having me on. You guys do an excellent job with this show and great with the local sports, and really appreciate it.
All right, thanks. That is the great Drew Lutz.
Thanks, Drew.
That's the great Drew Lutz, and I meant that 100%. And I know you feel the same way. When you get young guys that are good, And you got guys coaching. Landon Booker coaching, won a state championship.
Yep, right.
You got another one of you guys coaching in college.
Tommy Robbins is a coach, girls coach over at Holy Cross College.
Yeah, and when you
Antoine Banks is down in Charlotte. Matter of fact, Antoine, here's newsflash. I think I can tell people. Antoine offered one of the local, what's the junior's name at Riley that plays on the basketball team, boys team?
Where is my Prevagen when I need it?
So there's your secret.
No, are you talking about the kid from Riley?
The kid that moved over from Clay.
Yeah, from Clay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he offered him today, and so that's the big news down there. It's Division II school in Charlotte, so we'll go from there.
And I know we're going to head right into one of your guys, an Anderson guy, that I'm sure you guys can talk a lot about the Anderson chicks when you were around. You can talk about sports and all of it. But the great Scott Steger and Pat King were high school guys. And welcome to the show, Scott.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Scott, how are you? How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Did you have any lessons today? How many lessons did you teach today?
I only had 2.
Well,
my max is 4 or 5 a day. When you're almost 70, that's all you can do.
I understand. Well, we're all the same age.
I know.
St. Joe, 74 right here, believe it or not.
South Bend, St. Joe, man.
I remember following Pat, and I believe it was South Bend Adams, wasn't it?
Yes.
We played South Bend Adams in the state finals.
I didn't like it. I mean, I liked being there. I didn't like the finish.
Well, I know. Now, just to brag on you a little bit, Scott was on 2 state championship teams in golf. He was, matter of fact, sophomore year, you guys, that's back when you guys played Old Oakland, right? Which is where they played, 36 holes, and the Indians were state champs that year. And that's when Jimmy Q was medalist, right?
He was.
As a sophomore. That was amazing.
Great story because, he had a playoff against your teammate, Steve Douglas, at Anderson Country Club just to get into the state finals.
To be the 5th man, right? Yeah, to be the 5th man.
Yeah.
Steve didn't play.
4th man.
4th man. They only played 4, didn't they?
4th man. Back then, they played 4 and counted 4.
There was no throwout score. And then 2 years, 2 years later, seniors, you were state medalist, weren't you?
No, I wish.
I thought you were medalist as a senior, weren't you?
No.
I thought you were. Well, they won the state. Which year, do you remember which year you guys had the best score? Weren't it like 603 or 606 or something? Is that too long ago? I can't remember. That's too long ago. Anyways, you were state champs. Now, here's trivia for you. I know the answer. That your junior year, do you know who won the state in golf?
Yeah, I believe it was South Bend.
South Bend Adams.
Was it Adams?
Uh-huh. So I'm reminded of that quite regularly up here.
Man,
there was a girl that played there, a very great girl player.
Garbisi.
Garbisi.
Yes.
The Garbisi family.
The first year of the state finals at Oakland, I got paired with her.
Okay.
And she tried to call a penalty on me. And so I was not a fan, but we got it all settled, and it wasn't a penalty. But then that next year, they won it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So
Scott goes to Ball State. You're an All-American at Ball State and then you played in the Pro Tour for how many years were you on the tour?
Well, I was on the tour 79, 80, and 82, but only 2 complete years.
Okay.
So back then they had 2 qualifiers per year, and I qualified at Pinehurst my very first try at Pinehurst. So I got to play the rest of 79 and the first part of 80. Then I lost my card, obviously, because I wasn't good enough. And then I qualified again in 81 and played the entire year on 1982.
So that leads us up to the main reason we're together today is your son Eric just qualified for the PGA, which is coming up here in a couple weeks at Quail Hollow in Charlotte. And you caddied for him this past weekend. Is that right? Tell me a little bit about you guys' week last week in Port St. Lucie.
Well, 3 weeks ago, he called me and said he really wanted me to caddy because, I've seen him play and, I know his game a little bit. And I told him at the time, I said, I don't mind doing that, but I'm not going to be that first guy at the putting green when you guys get there. I'll probably be the third guy.
I'll be there in time for the tee time, right?
I got him there on time. Yep. I drove him every day. Got him there on time. Watched him hit balls, and then took off and caddy.
Now, we talked a little bit earlier this afternoon. The main thing I'm thinking about here, you and I, when's the last time you walked 18 holes?
Wow.
Exactly. Wow. You got to think about it, right?
I can't even recall. It's probably 10 years ago. I mean, I've walked with him, but not carrying, clubs and wearing a caddy bib and all the things they made me do down there. But it's been probably 10 years since I played and walked 18 holes.
So, yeah, exactly. So I guess my question is, what size of golf bag do you use? Do you use one of the big Pro Tour bags for you? Or did you have any demands on that?
I know I didn't have any demands, but he went to one of the local golf shops and bought a moon bag that holds about 6 or 8 clubs, but you can get a full set if you jam them in there.
Okay.
Here's the bag you're going to use. And I said, Eric, I said, do you have any other golf bags? Because those moon bags don't have stands to them. And as you know, Pat, I've had back issues along
Exactly.
pretty much every golfer.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if you've got a stand bag, I'll use that. And so I caddied in that for the 4 days, and that's because I could just put it on my shoulder.
Now, Florida's pretty flat. How was it a hilly course, or were there? From TV, you couldn't really tell.
Yeah, it's hard to tell on TV. It had some hills on it. And
now, how far did you have to walk?
8 miles, according to my wife, who walked every bit of it too, and kept steps. Plus, I had to go back and forth to the driving range, over to putting range. So it was a haul for me.
So as old guys, I'm thinking the highlight of the week is that you're still vertical.
Well,
so you had a practice round, right? Did you ride?
I didn't do the practice round. I flew in Wednesday night. He teed off on Thursday, and I didn't do any of the practice rounds. He did.
So first time you saw the course was Thursday morning.
Yep, that was first.
Hey, Scott, let me ask you this question because I see this all the time. The professional golfers, they carry like a little booklet in their back pocket, and they're always writing stuff down on the book and stuffing it back in their pocket. What are they writing in those books?
Normally, what club they hit into the green and which direction the wind was coming from. Because, as you guys know, wind changes direction. It's never constant. So if you don't remember that 2 days ago you had the same club, but it was downwind, you're in trouble. So the kids all write that stuff into this book. And now the books are really great because not only do they have the yardages and the slopes of the greens, they also have the direction the grass is growing. So in Florida, you play on golf courses that have grain. So if you don't know which way the grain is growing, sometimes it can cause your putts to come up way short or way too far. And we saw that a couple times with Eric. He just misread the book or didn't think it was as slow as he thought or as fast. And he had some 3 putts because of that. But it's all good information. But, they even allowed, and I told Eric when we were playing, the kid that won the tournament and the other guy that he played with both had compasses, and they were laying those on the ground. And I panicked and I said, can they do that? Because compasses tell you not only sometimes which way the wind is going, but it can also tell you which way grain is growing. Because grain in Florida always grows pretty much with the setting sun. So in the morning, the cup will get burned on the west edge because the sun rises in the east, and falls in the west.
Right. Okay.
So they were pulling out these compasses, and I'm going, wait a minute, this cannot be legal. But Eric said he had one too. He just
Okay.
That's amazing. The subtleties that go into playing a round of golf, and even to the point to where you know which way the grass is going to lay. That's amazing to me. How golfers have to grind through all of that and practice so hard. Talk about the grind that a normal work week would be for a professional golfer.
Well, a guy like Eric that's no longer playing, big time golf, although next week is as big as it gets, they are pretty much doing 5 to 7 hours a day.
Wow.
Whether, that's 18 holes, that counts. But most of them are hitting balls in the morning. They'll normally have a lunch. They'll hit some range balls. They'll either go back and play more or they'll hit the driving range in the afternoon. But I'm saying most of them are in the 6 and 7 hours of practice per day.
Per day.
They don't take many days off.
Interesting. Well, let's talk, Eric. The first 2 days he was in the running, he was close, but then he had a really good Saturday. Is that right?
Saturday was his good round. Yeah, he shot 170, which was 2 under par. The third day, he shoots 66. And coaches, I played a lot of golf, and Pat knows this. I told him when he finished, it was probably the best round of golf I had ever seen. He was in complete control of every shot he hit. No emotions. The putting was, lag putts were a foot. It was just phenomenal. And he lipped 2 putts out, complete lip outs in the last 5 holes that, could have easily gone down. Other than that, I couldn't think of a shot that he could have, done better on. It was just.
He had a really good back 9 on Saturday. Is that right?
He shot 4 under.
Yeah.
He fell in love with one hole, the 16th hole. He played that course 3 times. He made eagle the first 2 days and made birdie the last day that kind of helped him get the ship going the right way.
Mm-hmm. So he was in second place going into the final round and was playing in the last group, right, with the leaders.
Yep, played in the last group with Tyler, the kid that won it.
Yeah, and he won it by 10 shots or something, which was nice. But now where's Tyler Collett from?
He is from St. John's Golf Club in Vero Beach.
Okay, so he's a Florida boy.
20 miles away.
Okay.
There's an old guy from Anderson Country Club. I don't remember if you remember him. Gary Nelson. He was the pro at Anderson Country Club for 8 years or so. And he works down at where Eric played in Port St. Lucie. And he said Tyler had been coming in there about 1 or 2 times a week practicing for all that.
Getting ready for that.
I'm doing his homework. And the kid was just amazing. Totally.
Well, you had a chance. Now, Eric played with him just the final day, or did you mention he played with him the first 2 days as well?
2 days. He got paired with him the first 2 days.
Interesting. So you got to see him 3 times.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, on Sunday, Eric goes out and shoots 78 and was kind of leaking oil on the back 9. What magic words did you have for him to get him in the clubhouse?
Well, it was really strange. His warm-up was just like on Saturday. And I thought, here we go. He's going to play really great. The first hole had a left to right wind, and he plays a left to right shot. And he hit it a little bit right and got over in the trees. Then he did it again on the second hole. And from that moment on, he really fought the feel with his driver and what he needed to get in the fairway. And so, once you're leaking oil like you describe it, it's super hard to get him out. And I've been there. I've had those moments where I've leaked oil like crazy. Once it starts, it's like anything, It's like when you get on a roll in basketball. I watched Steph Curry last night. He was out of sorts for a while. Then he made some shots. And so I talked to him a little bit about it and tried to get him back on mentally. And no matter what I tried, it just was not there. It was not going to happen.
You just needed to get him in the clubhouse as quick as possible.
Yeah, the 14th hole was the pivotal moment. and he leaked a drive to the right again, and he had 200 yards uphill into the wind on a par 4. And when we got to his ball, he had a mountain of a lip right in front of him. He had to wedge it out with his sandwich.
Oh,
So
dear.
he's not going to hit it that close. So when we got up there, he was not happy. And I said, hey, we got to hit it and we got to move forward. So get this ball out of here into the fairway. Let's get it on the green somehow and try to get out with a bogey. Well, he hit a great wedge, took an 8-iron from 170, hit it to 8 feet, and he made the putt.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
So that's what you got to do, isn't it?
Yeah, and it kind of got him going like, hey, I can do this. And Eric didn't want to know where he stood, so I let him go until 17T, and he had birdie 16. And I said, do you want to know where you stand? You got 2 holes left. And he looked at me and he goes, no, Dad, I got an idea.
Okay.
I said, well, just hit the green, get out of here with par, and let's make par on that par 18th hole. Well, he hit it on the green, both holes, re-putted, and made 2 bogeys.
Oh, dear.
So, no matter what you do, it's just, it's a hard game. Like
It is a hard game. So what happens now? What's your schedule here the next 2 weeks?
Well, it's crazy. We're finding out a lot of stuff that neither one of us knew. We have a Golf Channel, 4-hour Golf Channel show tomorrow that he's going to hit some balls. We're both bringing in students to teach. We're going back to his childhood home. We're going to film that. Then ESPN comes in Thursday or Friday, followed by CBS Sports is going to do a thing on him too. So the reason all this is going on is it leaked out that I had played a little bit, that I was on the bag.
Mm-hmm.
So they started looking up all these stats that only you guys, coaches and media know. And it turns out we're one of 6 father-son combinations to ever play in the PGA.
Cool.
And the 6 are Jack and Jackie Nicklaus, Davis Love and his dad, Bob Tway and his dad, all way more famous people than I and he are.
Then the Steger
Cool.
family.
Huh?
Yeah, this is that. So we got a little scoop going on right now, don't we, Heck?
Well, yeah, we do. I think it's amazing that in his big time now, that obviously you're going to be able to be with him, and I know the professional caddies, really have a way of maybe reining those golfers in, but I mean, so much, when you look at him and you say, hey, this is what we got to do. And obviously he takes everything you say to heart because that's why he wants you there. I think what a special time for you guys to be able to have this coming week.
And as you mentioned, he asked me 3 weeks ago, and I said, I'd be glad to do it. But then on Wednesday when we finished, he gave me a big hug and he goes, now you're coming on the bag at Quail Hollow, right? And I said, hey, let's talk about that later. But I think at this point, we're in a little bit bigger show, a bigger dance. And you need to get somebody that can not only help you on the golf course that's been there, but, be there for you in a professional manner. And that's what we're going to do. We're just going to spend the money. And, the good thing about me, I was free. Other than the Airbnb that he rented down there. Now he's saying, hey, you're going to help me out with paying for the Airbnb. And I said, hey, Eric, I'm going to charge you a dime for caddy. A little something for Dad, but I'm going to pay for it. And it's all just been fun, Ron.
Yeah. So you had a sign that said we'll work for food and room and board there for the last week, right?
That's exactly right.
That's great. So when do you guys go to Charlotte?
Well, Eric's he's flying because, he gets the Lexus courtesy car for the week.
Okay.
All the things that players get. And Don and I are taking his sponsor's a Button Dodge owner, and he's given us a Cadillac Escalade for us to take down and haul people around and stuff like that. So we'll drive in Monday, go out Tuesday, watch the practice rounds. And then the tournament starts Thursday.
Yeah, and so the goal right now is to get him so he's playing Saturday and Sunday right now.
I would think so, but I had a long conversation with his sports psychologist, and he says, forget the cut. We got to get him convinced, and this is great stuff for your other coaches and stuff. We have to get him to realize he's there for a reason. He's not there to look around to see Rory and Scottie Scheffler and all these guys. He's there. So we have to get him to believe that he's a contender and that he can play with these guys. So we haven't talked about the cut. For me, back when I played, Paul Azinger and I and Larry Mize, Payne Stewart, all we talked about was never winning, just wanting to make the cut. Well, these kids are good now, and they're coming out and they're ready to win. So everything's, on a bigger, taller level with confidence mainly.
Mm-hmm.
And so we aren't talking about any goals. Golf is a no results process only. So as long as he goes through the process, he's got a step-by-step process on every shot. And as long as he stays in his process and doesn't look at scoreboards or listen to people, then results kind of happen.
Right. And wouldn't it be fun when the tee sheets come out there on Thursday to see who he's paired up with? It might be some of these big names. You just never know.
No, it won't. Great point. I've had that question happen. Who's he going to play with? The way they do it, we're club pros. And he's got a good friend, Adam Schenk, that's from Indiana, played at Purdue.
Okay.
And Adam, he's not mad. He's happy for Eric, but he's not in the PGA right now. And here's a guy that does it for a living, and he's going, and that's the thing that club pros are fighting. Why are these club pros in there when we got 20 other world-class players that plenty of them that aren't in it? So we're just taking it as, let's go, let's have fun, let's play golf. But what they'll do is you'll get a late pairing on Thursday, probably 3 o'clock, 3:30, with other club pros.
Okay.
Right? Same on Friday. Then he'll go early, or he'll go early late.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the cut's made, it's all score. So if he's tied with Rory McIlroy, that's who he's going to play with.
Right.
So we won't know until he makes the cut. Now we'll know who he plays with, but I'm pretty positive that it won't be anybody that anybody's heard of.
It would probably be some of the same people he saw this past weekend at Port St. Lucie, huh?
Michael Block, any of those.
Yeah. And tell me your quick story. You said that you had some good conversations with Michael Block. Now he was in the PGA. Was it last year or has it been 2 years ago?
He was in it last year. He's played in 7 PGAs. But 2 years ago, he got it up and down on the last green to finish 12th in the PGA, which got him an automatic invite back. It got him into 6 tour events. And that's kind of the goal for PGA, club pros. They can get in that top 12, which, trust me, it's going to be a hard task. But that's kind of what they look for. But yeah, Michael Block came up on the putting green. He knew Tyler Collett, and because Tyler's played in 4 straight, and he came up and hugged Tyler. And next thing I know, he comes over and shakes my hand and says, "Great job." Went over and gave Eric a big hug. Great plan, and it was pretty cool. He was the only one that did that.
That's fun. That's interesting. So.
All right, man. Listen, thanks for taking a few minutes, man. We could talk for hours about golf stories, about your career, and then some of the things that you did. We have another guest coming up here, but we want to thank you so much for taking a minute to talk to us and tell us some great PGA stories, right, Pat?
This has been fun. Of course, you and I could talk forever because we've got plenty of things we could talk about.
And I'm always here. Anytime you guys need anything, let me know. And we're just excited.
And you're teaching pro now you're still at Pebblebrook, is that right?
I'm still at Pebblebrook.
And and all these golfers at the schools down there come through your program, is that right?
A lot of them, yeah. Although
Yes,
Eric and I are we have an academy at the golf course of over 200 kids.
Mm-hmm.
But Eric and I kind of do our own thing. Our philosophy is a little different than mass teaching and bringing 20 kids in and having, 1 or 2 teachers. So we do some small groups, 3 or 4 people, and then we do one-on-one. I have probably 30 kids I teach every week or biweekly, trying to get them ready for college and that experience. So
That's great. That's a lot. That's good stuff. Well, Scott, hey, enjoy this. So we get to we look for you on, what'd you say, the Golf Channel, CBS, and ESPN.
Yep, ESPN's doing a story just with Eric, and so is CBS Sports on our relationship, and coming at the upcoming PGA. Natalie, his wife, works for the NCAA. She's on the actual. She does the Final Four for women's. She just got finished with beach volleyball. She's flying to Phoenix for a site visit for women's Final Four.
Okay.
So he's kind of been doing his own, raising his kids and trying to practice at the same time.
Well, that sounds great. Hey, good luck to you guys. We'll be looking for you. Thanks a lot, Scott.
Well, thanks, Scott. Good luck to you guys.
All right. Thanks,
thank you.
All right, buddy. See ya.
Good night.
What a great story coming out of Anderson, Indiana, and someone that obviously you grew up with.
Yeah, we go back to Edgewood Country Club from the old days.
Hey, so we are going to be joined by a great young coach, Tyler Leighton, here in a minute. Why don't you take us to commercials, and then we will come back. And Tyler, hang on, man. I can't wait to chat with you, man.
Got to hit the right button.
Medicare plans can be confusing, but they don't have to be. I'm Tony Ledger, licensed insurance agent. I can help you compare your options because I'm appointed with many nationally recognized carriers. With my help, you can find the coverage that fits your needs and budget. I don't want you to be my client today. I want you to be my client forever. Call Tony Ledger today to schedule your free consultation or visit tledger.com.
Dealing with the loss of a loved one can leave you with lots of unanswered questions and stress. At Hahn Funeral Homes of Mishawaka, we're here to help. Our focus has always been on the families that we serve. At Hahn Funeral Homes, we stand ready to meet your needs and exceed your expectations when selecting a funeral home. Our experienced funeral directors and staff will be there for you every step of the way for all of your funeral service needs. Hahn Funeral Homes is located at 505 West 8th Street in downtown Mishawaka. You can call them anytime at 574-255-1474 or stop in to get all your answers from our local funeral professionals about all your funeral needs. Hahn Funeral Homes, a family serving families. Are you sick and tired of relying on somebody else to get you around? Are you coming to Indiana from a place where you just never needed to learn how to drive? Well, if you're looking to hit the road with confidence, Frick's Driving School in Mishawaka has been helping drivers of all ages gain the skills they need for a lifetime of safe driving. With experienced, patient instructors like Mr. Coach Pat King and flexible scheduling, Frick's makes it easy for you to learn to drive easy and stress-free. Whether you're a first-time driver or need a refresher like Mr. Coach Ron Heklinski, Frick's has you covered. Plus, for just $65, they offer the state driving exam in-house. No need to go anywhere else. Visit fricksdrivered.com or call 574-256-0650 to get started today. If you're nearing retirement, or if you're like me and you're not nearing retirement but you still want to get your money right for retirement, the Harbor Group Planned Wealth has you covered with the ability to answer questions like, what specific steps should I take before retiring? When should I draw Social Security? How do I manage investment risk? How much will health insurance cost if I retire? If I'm over 62, which I still am not, how much money can I earn part-time without affecting my Social Security and or my pension? And is it really possible to get a raise if I retire? If you want all those questions and more answered, call the Harbor Group at 855-5-HARBOR, HARBER, or you can contact VP Jessica Rhodes at 765-393-1074, or visit the website harborgroup.com. Securities and advisory services are offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
We are back from our little break here, and we need to add our new player here. there is Tyler Leighton with us tonight. Tyler, how are you tonight?
Doing really well. How are you guys doing?
Well, we've been busy with our some other people. We just finished talking with Drew Lutz about a half hour ago. Talked a little bit about New Prairie basketball, and now we're going to have a chance to talk with you to see what in the world are you thinking? Is what we asked him, so we can ask you the same thing. What are you thinking? Leaving your alma mater, you're one basket away from going to the state finals at Jimtown, and you've decided that we're going to go to Concord. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Coach King, it didn't sound so crazy, but when you put it that way, now I feel like I might be a little crazy.
He's got a tendency to be negative, so don't let him talk you out of it, man.
Let me preface this that you and I have already had a conversation about Berrien Springs 2 weeks ago. So
yeah, we did.
So we had some fun with that. So I do apologize for that, because I kind of think of what are you thinking? But
Well, no, so
yeah, I think it's fantastic.
Well, and we get it, because we've all been in scenarios. I mean, my first job was at Wapahani, and then I move up, I go to Jasper, then I go to Ball State, and I go to Illinois State, and then I finally get to the top of the pinnacle at Anderson. But I asked myself then at the end of the day, if I would have stayed at Wapahani, would I have been a happy dude? And I always come away saying, yeah. And you go back home, man. You're a Jimtown guy, man. Bodie Bender, Derek Deshawn, the whole thing, man. And you do great. You're with Country Roads at Penn. You're the protege. And then the job opens up at Concord. And I know you talk to Derek. I mean, you got to talk to Derek. And Derek's got to tell you, man, Tyler, these people are crazy, man. If these people were crazy, I'd still be doing this. And then you take the job, man. Talk me through that a little bit, man.
Well, let's rewind to the season and the Jimtown team that we had. I truly believe that team this year was the best Jimtown team that's ever been there. I truly believe that. Better than our team that won it in 2004. Better than the team in 2001 that lost to Bluffton in the semi-state. If you look at that roster, all four of our seniors are going to play college sport. 2 basketball, 1 football, 1 track. The other 4 guys are going to play college sport too. So all 8 of my players that played in that semi-state game will be college athletes. That just tells you at the 2A level why we were able to go on our run and be so successful. And I just don't know if I could ever be able to top that with that level of ability at that school. So that's some insight I haven't really shared with many people.
Well, and I totally understand that, because let's face it, what's next? If you stay at Jimtown, what else can you do except win 2 more ball games? And that's a tough call.
Well, and to your point, Pat, we were up by 2 with 8 seconds left, and then their point guard Ethan Hendricks, who was a phenomenal player, hit a 25-footer. To go up 1. And guess what? We still had 2 more shots to win it. We called a timeout. We ran a full court play. Our point guard, who's going to go play college football, had a layup at the rim and just missed it. We set up our press, got a steal at half court, and then we had a half court heave that fell short. So as you can imagine, that scenario has ran through my head maybe a few hundred times.
Yeah. And then the job opens up at Concord, and it's a scenario where you don't have to move, I would imagine. Right. Obviously, I read your comments, the conference, bigger stage in the sectional, playing great competition. Was that a job? And once Derek got out of it, was that a job that you kind of identified that you wanted to go get?
Yeah. So, Derek let me know that he was going to be taking that administrative job. And we were in the middle of our state run. I wasn't even thinking about other jobs. I'm just trying to help us keep going. And I was kind of in a cloud and a funk after we got beat. And then people in coaching that I trust reaching out to me, hey, this is a pretty good situation. That Randy Deshawn, who I played for, Derek's dad, was one of those people that's like, look, Tyler, this is a very good situation. And part of the reason it was such a good situation is all the work that Derek's done in the feeder program.
Mhm.
There's amazing people that run that. He's done a great job building that. It's ready for me to step in there and just guide and direct on what I want them to do. There's a lot of good young talent in the middle schools, and they have a good freshman class. And yeah, like you said, that NLC conference and the Elkhart Sectional 4, when I moved back here from Chicago, coaching with Al at Penn, that playing in that sectional at Northside Gym, that's kind of our mecca here in Northern Indiana, and it's something that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, so you mentioned Chicago. I forgot that you were in Chicago. What did you do in Chicago? Did you coach? Were you involved in something else?
Yeah, so when I first moved up there, I worked at Judson University. I was like the college athlete admissions advisor, helping with the coaches with getting the kids on campus for visits and all that stuff. And then I started working at NCSA athletic recruiting, doing the college recruiting service. And I just missed coaching. I missed being around the kids. So I started back teaching and coaching in Chicago. I was in the Noble Network of Charter Schools first for 2 years until I finished my teaching license. And then I got into Chicago Public Schools. My first job in the public schools was at Steinmetz College Prep. That's their most famous alumni is Hugh Hefner. Fun fact.
There you go. Let's put that on our recruiting cards. Let's see what Mom thinks about that one, right?
There you go. So I did that for a year, and then I got a pretty good job at a middle school, real close to our condo in Chicago. And then I was a varsity assistant at Nicholas Senn High School, which is very close to Loyola Chicago. And my second year there, we won the conference regular season, and they had a conference tournament. That was right then COVID hit. So then all that whirlwind led me back here to Michiana.
So as you move forward here, as far as your calendar, when are you finishing things up there at Jimtown, and when are you transitioning to Concord?
Well, it's a tough time right now because I'm finishing my teaching contract at Jimtown, and we got about a month of school left. And we've actually just started our spring workouts at Concord. So, I do the evening workouts a couple days a week at Concord, but still teaching during the day at Jimtown. Are
you have any summer camps, scheduled yet? Is that something you at least tried to get started?
Yeah. So it's kind of a sprint once I accepted the job to get our June calendar put together, and I'm actually meeting with some of our feeder people tomorrow night to finalize what we're going to do for the kids camp. But what dates and times, that type of thing works best for the parents to get the kids there.
I read your comments when you talked about telling your kids at Jimtown that you were going to do this, and how you came away so impressed with your kids at Jimtown. Understanding this move from your perspective.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times as adults, we tend to, I feel like, shelter kids too much. Kids are smart, especially with technology and internet. They are exposed and aware of so many more things than we give them credit for. And I just spoke to them man to man, looked them in the eye in the locker room, and just said, look, we're all in here because we're competitors. And just like you guys want to compete at the highest level, so do I. And this is an opportunity for me to compete in the NLC conference and that sectional in the biggest stage of Indiana high school basketball, and really test myself and see what I'm made of. And I said, guys, you know me, you know how I'm a fighter and a competitor. And that's us being that way together is what helped us go on this special run this year. And I said, guys, for me professionally, this is the next step for me. And they get it.
Yeah, I think that's really important, and I think the comment that you made, kids are smart. I think the coaches that think that they can fool kids that's long gone. Kids are smart, and what kids want you to do is they would really appreciate your honesty with them, and I think that's what you kind of fell into at Jimtown. Is there a front runner for the Jimtown job now?
I'm not really too much into the loop on that. I know that Scott Hamster, our athletic director, is taking resumes. It sounds like he's got a pretty good pool of candidates to consider. But I just said, obviously it's a kind of a tough situation there with me leaving, after only being there 2 years, and we got very close very fast. And I just let him know, hey, if there's anything I can do, if you care what my opinion is, if you want me to share any information with whoever you're thinking or who you bring in that might be able to, help springboard them in getting started, I'm more than happy to do that. But obviously I've officially resigned to take the Concord job, so I'm kind of out of the loop now.
Are you taking any of your assistants at Jimtown with you to Concord?
That's been an unfortunate thing that's been pretty sad for me. You guys know, you get so close with your assistants, and 2 of our assistants had freshmen on the team that played meaningful varsity minutes for us. And I just think logistically for both of those guys, it doesn't make sense for their families to come. And then I had another volunteer assistant who was retired, and he's stepping away for good. And so it's kind of a new, fresh start for all of us, I think.
I got to think, and I don't know, Pat, I mean, you may feel this way too, but the NIL money that you can give out at Jimtown, you're going to have a lot more NIL money at Concord, right? When the commissioner said, hey, let there be transfers, man.
Well, I'm not like some schools I've heard of that I can't just shell out thousands of dollars to get kids to come to my school.
I know. What about so? What about you and Derek, man? And Derek's going to be in administration. You're running the show. Do you foresee him ever coming down and saying, "Man, what are you doing that for?"
That'd be a lot of fun. He's really been kind of in the back of things. He said, "Look, if you have any questions, ask me. I'll help you," and he has. I was over there the other day dropping some stuff off, and we ran into each other in the hallway, and then we just stood there and talked for 15, 20 minutes. And he's always been great. We had a lot of fun, and we won a lot of ball games together from middle school all the way through IUSB. So I think we'll always be close. And he's a smart dude. Anything he wants to share with me, I'm going to listen.
Hey, one question. What's the big tall guy's name that was on your high school that played with you guys in high school?
Kyle Johnson.
Because we interviewed him last 2 seasons ago. He was in town at halftime. Didn't you guys have when they recognized your state championship team? I think he was in town for that. He was fantastic. He came and talked to us on the radio during halftime, and I'm thinking, okay, they had this big dude at Jimtown. No wonder they had the success they had, because he was pretty good.
Very skilled. He led our team in scoring in the state finals game. He was a Trester Award winner. He went on to have a great career at Grace College. He's the head girls basketball coach at Bay Village High School in the suburbs of Cleveland now. He absolutely loves his job there, loves things with his family. When this news was announced, he called me. We talked for a while. It's always good to hear from KJ.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So when the job opened up, one of my first thoughts was, is Eric Gaff going to want to go back home to Concord? And I know once you look at his roster, he's primed maybe to go downstate or have a lot of success in the next coming years. So I thought that he would have a decision to make whether he wanted to get involved or he didn't.
Yeah, I texted him about it. We played together for 1 year at Grace too, and we kind of go way back. And I texted him even before I was putting my name in. He said, "No, I'm happy where I'm at. I'm staying put." Well, if I had that roster, I probably would too, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. But once you get into the Catholic school setting and the retirement and the insurance, we all know that the public schools, offer so much more from that standpoint. So I was kind of looking at it from that standpoint for him. But listen, man, I am so happy for you. You've spent some time with Country Roads, man, and then it was your time to go get that head coaching job. You went, you captured it big time, you won big time, and now you have a chance to move up. And I'm really, really happy for you.
Thanks, Coach, and I'm just want to congratulate you again on Hall of Fame. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Pat, you want to close?
Well, I was going to say, remember up Bering Springs, we were talking about videos. I know a video company come down and do your ball games. You just need to get with that athletic director and get him on the same channel we are, so we can cover some games for you.
Dave Preheim is the boss, so we have to make sure we get the boss on board.
I hear you. I understand.
Hey, listen, Tyler, thanks for taking a couple minutes with us, man. Good luck. And if there's anything that we can ever do for you, man, please let us know. I mean, great young coaches like yourself. And we had Drew Lutz on today, man. He is so excited to go to New Prairie. And I said, same thing I said, Drew, why? You could go anywhere you want, man. But he is so excited to go in there. And there's nothing like great young coaches to carry this great game on, and you're one of them. Congratulations, man. And if there's anything you need, let us know.
Hey, will do. Last thing I'll share with you guys. I was one of them. There's about half a dozen head coaches in the area that were trying to get Drew Lutz on staff. So there's about half a dozen of us that are disappointed that he's not with us, but we're happy for him. So thanks, guys.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, that does keep. I mean, can you imagine putting him in charge of an individual workout and letting him take the guards and work on all that stuff that he has? He would be amazing. We're happy that he gets to come back home. He's having some family issues, I think, with his father, and just for him to be able to come back home and be in hoops. I mean, you young guys are carrying this game for us, man. Good luck.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it very much.
All right. Take care. See you, Tyler.
See you guys.
All righty.
Isn't that so cool, though? I mean, when you see
the next generation
of young kids being able to and I mean, I got to face it. I'm 69 years old, and if I wanted to say, I'm going to apply for the Concord job. I'm just coming off the Hall of Fame stuff. I have some credentials. You're 69. You could say, I want to apply for this job. Can I get this job? And you probably could get this job. But the ability to relate to young kids, technology, social-wise, it is a different game now.
It sure is. Well, just like when we were talking to Steger, I was talking to him all afternoon. His biggest concern was just literally getting on here because he goes, I don't know how to do this computer stuff.
Yeah.
And, he can run a launch monitor, at the golf course and knows what all those numbers are. But, as far as getting on a laptop and clicking on buttons and stuff like that, he had no clue.
Yeah. And so we, and when I say we, I'm talking about us coaches that have been in the wars and are now done. It's good for us to be able to see that the game's in great hands.
Yes.
And when you look at some of the coaches in the area now, Elkhart's going to have a new coach here shortly. Will Cody got let go, and some of the names that I heard at Elkhart were Ryan Varga, Bodie Bender, who's done just a great job at Mishawaka. And a couple other guys.
I heard CJ Superzinski, who was one of my former players that's been up at Cassopolis the last few years, also interviewed over there. And I also heard they're probably going to make a decision maybe this week.
Yeah,
I think before their next, they want to have a name before the next school board meeting, which I think is a week from today.
Yeah, and I hope they do. Which gives the incoming coach time to get June ready, because as a basketball coach, it's June.
Yes.
It's June. You have to get ready. I was talking to one of my ex-guys, Joey Luce, who won 20 games. He won 20 games at Tippy Valley this past year. It was his third year. He's totally revamped that program. Tippecanoe Valley now, when you talk about them, they're a team to be reckoned with. They win 20. He gets sideways with 3 school board members because he didn't play their kids.
It's all, yep.
He didn't play their kids.
I can relate.
And he said, I played 7 kids. If I would have played 10, I might have played them. But there was a distinct drop-off. Played 7 kids, and so he gets fired. He gets let go at 9 in the morning, just out of the blue. Wawasee calls him at 2 in the afternoon and says, hey, Joey, what would it take to get you to come to Wawasee? And he said, well, it's just funny that you asked me that. Because I'm now a free agent.
I wonder how they knew that.
Yeah, and so
or did they?
But he takes a job at Wawasee.
So he was unemployed for about a day.
Well, he was unemployed for maybe 4 or 5 hours, and then his brother Matt Luce, who spent 20 some years as the head coach and athletic director at Wapahani. They're in the state championship game this past year, right? To play Manchester. Manchester beats them at the buzzer, but so Newcastle comes after Matt. Says, Matt, we love your teams. We love watching them. what would it take to get you to Newcastle? Matt then throws out a couple things. Newcastle says, great, let's get this done. But Matt has a couple of daughters that are going to be seniors at Wapahani, and Matt says, "Nah, I can't do this, man. I got a couple of daughters that don't want to leave." And the AD is Corey Bennett. Corey Bennett played for Newcastle. Was a really good player.
Yes.
Corey says, "Okay, man, I'm so sorry." Corey calls him back and says, "I'm going to meet you in Muncie here in about 2 hours. Meet me." And Matt says, "Well, I don't know why." And he says, and he says, "Matt, just meet me." So they meet. They talk. Before you know it, Matt's the new coach at Newcastle. I see this totally from Newcastle's standpoint, because Newcastle has been a relatively unknown.
They've been
deal
off the radar for
a few years.
Yes.
And they even had an ex-Newcastle guy coaching him, Daniel Cox. He was a great Newcastle player, played at the University of Indianapolis. But to bring a guy in like Matt Luce, who will be able to communicate with kids, get kids to play his way, and put Newcastle back on the map, because I think the Midwest is better when Newcastle is relevant because of the Fieldhouse.
Yes, yeah. They use the field house. It'd be nice if the team that played in that field house was good again.
Yeah, and
so it's probably been 10 years, easily. It's probably been 10 years since Newcastle was relevant, except for hosting the tournament, the Hall of Fame tournament at Christmas time, and then as they get down into the regional and semi-state.
So I'm really, and this is an exciting time for me. It was an exciting time for me when I was coaching, and I applied for some different jobs. But it's exciting for me to check out the new wave of young coaches that are going to be hired in some of these positions.
Well, I think Elkhart will be one of those too, because things are better in northern Indiana when Elkhart is relevant.
I agree 100%. Things are better in the NFL when the Chicago Bears are better, because it's a big city team, because they're always going to be on TV.
It's
the Bears. And when the Bears are good, it's better. When Notre Dame is good in football, it's better.
It's better. It's time
Better
to go.
for who?
Well, there's a voice.
I've been here the whole time.
I knew when I said that. We
were getting a reaction.
We would get a reaction from you. It's good. It's good when Purdue is better. It's good when Purdue is relevant. It's good when IU is better, because that IU-Purdue rivalry, it hadn't really been a rivalry.
Now, did you see in the news, Harold, that my last comment, just totally out of left field, did you see where Purdue and Kentucky basketball are going to play an exhibition game next year?
Well, but
yeah,
why?
After all those rumors that Braden Smith was transferring.
Yeah, but why an exhibition game?
That's instead of playing an NAIA team, they're going to play each other, because that's one of the new things. You can now play.
Purdue's been doing this a lot too.
You can play a good team, and it doesn't.
Last year they played
against your
Alabama.
Record. Yeah,
at
that's
Alabama,
right.
I think.
It's like an organized scrimmage, but it's a game.
Yeah, I don't get that, man. I mean, Purdue, Kentucky. What a freaking sellout! What a game!
Sure,
and have it count.
I think they raise money for charity too.
It's just like Kentucky.
Yeah, it's like an October game around Halloween. But instead of playing Hanover or St. Francis or some of the teams, or Valpo, like they get to play a Division I school in one of the SEC teams.
I guess
that's what they're doing.
I guess I'm just going to go home and watch the Cubbies. But I guess
I'm going to go home and watch some NBA games. Scott,
hey Scott, you're the best, man. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, and thanks for making this show great. Our guys that we had on tonight, Drew Lutz, Scott Steger, and Tyler Leighton, they were all awesome. And for our listeners tonight to be able to have that kind of a show, you got to count yourself lucky.
I think, we're very fortunate.
And we have two more shows now.
Two more shows, and then we're going to take a summer break and
come back about the second week of August.
Yep, in time for football season.
For football. You're the best, man.
We did well.
We did well for a couple of slaps.
Yep, enjoy your week. Hit the ball straight and watch a little golf this week.
And don't be leaking oil on the back nine, as Pat King says. See you, man. The black sedan bin.